When does the fantasy start?
Yeah, so you go into the pub and you kind of sit down with a drink, because I suppose it would be weird if you didn't do that. It's pretty empty in here. There's basically nobody apart from you and Rupert, the innkeep/bartender. You think this is probably because this is the main access that is being used to take food to the infected, whilst the town waits for them to die.
Given that it's just us and the barkeep then in private, I'd like to have a quick look at the journal that we found in the basement with the cragged shield crest. Because I sort of grabbed it, but I didn't...
No, that wasn't in the basement. That was in Borgov's Emporium. You opened
of course it was.
A chest
that
had
stole it from
one of the hammerlock locks on it, and you stole it from the secret compartment underneath all the clothes.
Yeah, I'd like to
have
a closer look at that, please.
You can indeed. Let me just grab another set. I wasn't expecting to need those sets of notes.
Sorry.
I too, like Bex, have big wads of paper.
I bet yours are in order, Jack.
Brag much.
Yours didn't fall on the floor and get completely thrown around.
No, they did. They did.
Oh, cool.
What's this? Right. Let's have a look. That is... no, that's a camp. No, not this.
Well,
what's everybody else doing whilst I rummage?
Are you there rummaging, Jack?
I am.
There's a guy called Jack rummaging through some notes.
I hold out my locked leather-bound tome in Grandel's face.
Where did you find that?
In the Emporium place.
Oh yeah, that was also from the Emporium. Okay, luckily I'm looking for my Emporium notes. So
well, that's why I kind of thought I'd probably best get it unlocked now.
I will...
Would you mind unlocking this,
Not
Grandel?
a problem at all. And traps and locks.
Yeah, give me traps and locks, yeah.
It's a 15 normal success.
Yep, that'll open up with a satisfying click.
Very nice.
Thumbs up to Grandel.
I love that sound.
It is satisfying.
Just while Jack's sorting all that stuff out.
I can visualise what it looks like in my fucking... I can't find the actual piece of paper it's written on. I found it.
We listeners, Jack slowly loses his mind as he goes through his notes.
It was here. I don't...
Can I just say, Elias, that ring looks very fetching on you. I knew it too, yeah.
It's a fantastic ring.
Yeah, I spotted it. I thought, like this. I reckon Elias is like this. Just like your dagger, Grandel. why I picked that one out for you, mate?
Oh, where's that?
Because it gave me tingles and I looked at it and I thought, do you know who likes ASMR? Grandel.
Dwarves? Oh, Grandel.
I mean, let's.
Yeah, I got
no, it's a fine dagger. I do appreciate it very much.
Special feeling when I looked at that one. I don't know why, but it just gave me a proper tingly feeling. Do you ever get that, Elias?
Sometimes.
I mean, I tend to get that when I look at women.
Huh.
That's the same thing, right?
Eyes.
Yeah, Garri looks sheepish.
Some specific women, maybe you would have that from.
I hold out my hand like I'm admiring my ring from Garri. And I'm just going to be like, Garri, I have to say, this is truly beautiful.
Well, you're all very, very welcome. Very welcome.
And honestly, I had no idea you felt this way.
Yeah.
Grandel sort of looks back and forth between Nyla and Garri, and as he keeps looking back and forth, this grin sort of gradually grows bigger on his face.
You can see Nyla's got like a very cheeky smile on her face. I mean, Garri, it truly is beautiful, but you're gonna have to give me time to think about it.
What about?
And then I pinch his cheek and go to the bar.
That was an in-character laugh and a player laugh.
Yeah. I look at Grandel confused.
Don't worry about it, laddie. I'll explain it when you're older.
Well, I'm like 22.
Aye. Bless.
Alright, fair enough.
Bearing in mind that Grandel is like in his mid-80s. I think Nyla's just turned 100 or something.
This is 135, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah. When he's older.
Scorn don't live very long.
Well, that's because they keep running
in terms
recklessly
of,
into
like-
battle, isn't it?
In terms of like maturity and age, and expected age, Garry's probably the oldest of the party. Like, in terms of like, it's a terrifying thought, isn't it? Okay, so you've got the locked leather-bound journal that you found in the job lot of books you bought from Borgov Elias. Then we've got Grandel's the journal he found, the crag shield symbol on the outside of it. You are currently investigating. Is anybody else investigating anything else? And we'll kind of do it all at once.
I say I wouldn't mind
As you're
taking a
just sat in
closer
pub
look
at
at.
the moment.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying, as you're just sat at a pub.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking a closer look at the dagger as well.
Yep. Cool. If you've got anything, Nyla or Garri at all?
The only thing I've written down that I'm kind of interested in is the obsidian coin.
Yeah, I got a black coin.
Yeah.
Three-eyed raven.
Oh yeah, you got that. I forgot you got that. Yeah.
I'll give it to
Also the staff that Nyla found as
Oh,
well.
and the
Oh
That's,
yeah, the staff. That's right.
Cool. Well, in that case, So I've already had the roll to open the lock. So that's fine. So we'll do that one first, and then we'll do the rolls to investigate them, and we'll open them as we go. Okay. So the journal, the leather-bound book with the lock on it that Grandel has just opened. Elias, you open it up, and it is. It looks like a spellbook.
Yay.
Slash notes, set of notes. They're like, it's kind of like a spell book and incorporated with like excuse me, a spell book that's been incorporated into like lab notes type thing.
So what you're saying
so
is
there's
that the
like-
inside cover reads "Property of the Half-Blood Prince."
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, and yeah, it is it's a spell book. If you wanted to do it's not investigation, is it? It's detection. If you want to do a detection check on looking at the contents, if there's anything specific you want to find, anything specific you want to find out about it, you can do. Same goes for you, Grandel, with the Crag Shield journal. If you give me a detection check, and if there's anything particular you're looking for, if you're just kind of looking for anything interesting, let me know, and we can go from there.
I'd like to check mine for anything interesting, obviously anything that stands out, but also any Cragshield clan member names that I might recognize.
Okay.
And that is a that's not a 3, it's an 8, which is it's just a normal success.
Okay. So, the weirdest thing about this journal that immediately stands out to you when you're kind of scanning for kind of Crag Shield names is that it doesn't appear to have been filled out or used by a Crag Shield. The journal itself actually, it seems like it belongs to a woman called Severe Windaxe.
Nice. Is that a
Um,
family name that I recognize at all?
Windax, yeah. Windax are quite an old clan, one of the kind of early ones. Generally, the weapony ones, as it were.
Sense.
Like the Windaxes, the kind of flint armors, crag shields. They're the kind of older clans. Because obviously it wasn't until, I say recently, relatively recently, that like locks and things like that kind of became important. So although you have very good standing within society as a hammerlock, it's kind of the Windax would be
We're new
just-
money versus old money, basically.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, obviously because
So
the weapons of war were kind of the bread and butter of 500 years ago.
So this is the journal of a Windax in a journal with the crest of the Cragshield family that was found in a chest that was locked with a hammerlock.
Yes.
What the fuck?
And kind of scanning through it with a normal success, you do kind of pick up on why it might be that it's in a crag shield kind of journal.
Yeah.
It seems like this woman, Severe, was having an affair with a crag shield, and this was a gift. Like literally, one of the first things is, I was given this today. I cannot write their name for fear of it being found, but I have a piece of them to keep with me always. So it's kind of heavily implied, it's a crag shield, isn't it? Then if they've got the crag shield crest on the front of it. So yeah, that's kind of, and you've not heard the Windax. I think it's quite a big family, well respected, old money as you say, but you don't specifically know of Asivia.
And this is it's all written in sort of modern Dwarvish.
Relatively so, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Modern Dwarvish is anything kind of post Folly.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
similar
absolutely.
to the way the Elvish works. And you reckon, just judging from the lock you picked it out of and stuff, it's maybe a couple of 100 years old.
Okay. Cool, thank you.
What?
Garri.
Well, actually, do me a general lore as well.
Okay. That's a 5, which is, I think, a normal success because my general law is not great. Let me just double check. Normal success.
Okay, there's something in the back of your head to do with the Windaxes, but you can't place it.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, Garri stands up at the start and almost flips the table as he kind of stands up. He's like, the house exploded. We forgot to check on Pierre.
Oh, shit.
Right, I'll have to go get him. I'll see you guys in a bit, and I'll run out of the bar back to the manor house.
In my mind, Garri was standing frantically, hopping from foot to foot, oh my god.
Yeah, flapping his hands in a kind of upward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly the image I got.
I was like, oh my god, oh my god.
Grendel leans conspiratorial over the table to Nyla and just says, "Now, do you think he actually cares about Pierre, or did you just make him so uncomfortable he had to find a reason to leave?"
Nyla will just take a long swig of her drink and shrug her shoulders.
No comment, I gotcha.
Amazing. We will deal with that in a moment. Elias, give me that. What are you looking for, and what did you roll?
Well, I rolled a 19, which
Bad.
is bad.
They're one of the worst.
So I don't find much. I kind of just wanted to know whose it was. I'm going to read it cover to cover anyway, so...
Yeah. Even on a fail, the person who it belongs to is basically the only thing you can get out of the book initially, because like most magic users, like most magic users,
Spell boys.
it's spell boys. It's written in
Wizardman.
like a code, like a personalized
Yeah, like a shorthand.
shorthand. So it's a bit ineligible initially, but the name is something that you can pick out because it's kind of not in the shorthand.
I think
And
you
it's a name
mean
you recognise.
illegible.
Yeah, I was going to correct
What did I
him,
say?
but ineligible. Oh, it's a snort. That was adorable.
Ineligible. You're not eligible to read this.
This book isn't allowed into this
I
club.
was just gonna let him get away with it.
I can't help it. I'm a pedantic sod.
You are.
Yeah, it's not legible.
That's
Or eligible.
I almost said it again. That's what's the funniest thing. Yeah, it's not legible, but the only thing you can pick out, because it's obviously the only bit that's not really written in code, because it's kind of like the way that Thieves' Cant is explained in D&D, for instance, where you speak normally, but there's a secret message beneath what you're saying. It's kind of more like that, the way that wizards, a lot of magic users write in their journals. So you kind of can see the lab notes, but then you know that there are kind of like spells underneath that. You just have to figure out how to get to them. But the magic user that this used to belong to is somebody whose name you do recognise, and it's I say Elias recognises, because you won't recognise this, but Elias does recognise this name, and it's Kushida.
Who is Kushida?
Which is Kursheda, for those of you.
Oh,
Don't spell
I don't
it
think
normally,
it is, because
Jack.
that's definitely not what I just said. I don't think that's how it's
That
spelled.
was not what I was thinking at all. I was
You
like,
just
C-A.
misremembered the spelling, that's all.
Spell it again.
Kursheda.
Kushida.
So yeah, Kushida, who you know, Elias, quite tragically died a few years ago.
Is it a woman?
Yes.
What did she die of?
She
Or
died.
how did she die?
She was murdered
Oh, nice.
Croban.
by her apprentice.
Ugh.
Sith.
I was gonna say. George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
Who was her apprentice, Jack?
That Elias would have to make a successful general law check to remember.
I'm good at these.
Jackets.
It is your thing,
Jackets,
definitely.
yeah.
Take that. 4. Great success.
Apprentice who quite famously a few years ago killed Kushida was a woman who goes by the name of Balba.
Alba.
Balba.
Does Elias know how she was murdered?
No.
Ah.
Okay.
But yeah, you can like spend some time to study that. It'll just kind of be a like investigation, arcane law type series of checks to. That's kind of the way I'm going to do spell books for you in general. This is the first one you've kind of really had a chance to look at, I think. But that's how I'm going to kind of do spell books, is that you have to kind of crack the code and then you can just copy the spells out of it over time.
I do have a spell book. I think.
Other than your own.
Yeah, I do.
I know that you picked one up. I don't know if you've actually spent time looking at it in game though.
Where's that one from?
That was ages ago.
I've got it.
Good.
Okay.
It's mine. You can't have it.
Good to know. I have it, and when I have it,
It is a thing.
It's mine.
It's written just before we were in the graveyard underground.
Oh, before, around the windmill, after the windmill, or in between the windmill.
I mean, Malachi did give you a book of some spells.
It's round about that time, because it says
Yeah.
that I have none shall pass.
Yeah, that was the one that he gave you.
And
yes,
then there's
that's
a
that.
blank entry that you told me you would tell me what it is later.
Yes, and I shall.
That time has not yet
Nice.
arrived.
When you have the time to sit down and study the book.
What about the spellbook I've got, Jack?
Well, that would be a whole other thing that you would have to also investigate. You can look at that now if you wanted to. Give me detection first on the dagger and the staff.
Okay. You do the dagger, Grandel, because it's yours.
Natural 20. So I believe this is
it's
the
a really nice
pointy
dagger.
end.
Yeah.
I
He
pass.
says, pointing at the
I
dagger.
got 13.
13 is a pass
Yes.
for you. So the staff is made of snake wood, and it is carved in the in the likeness of
Asp.
an asp. I already told you that.
Yeah.
Kind of coiled round at the top, so it's like thicker at the top. And you think that this has some magical property. Give me general law.
Is that an intelligence-based thing?
It is, yes.
It is.
Okay, I don't have that, but I can just make a standard roll, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do me like an intelligence.
Oh, I rolled a 2.
Nice.
Nice. So yeah, you know specifically, Nyla, that snakewood is used in the Elven Forest specifically to make staves for your magic users.
Oh.
And that usually they are carved in the likeness of the user's kind of totem animal. And that if you know the command word, you transform the staff into the animal a limited number of times.
Do you have to be a magic user to use it?
You don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. While that's happening then, I will go to the journal I have, which was with it.
It was. Yes.
The Journal of Geldivak, or whatever, or Gel. Gel or Gel?
Gel, no, it is Gel. Yeah,
Yeah.
Geldivak.
And I will frantically look to see if there's
Definitely a Cardassian
a
name.
word for it.
Cool. What were you going to do, Grendel?
I was just going to say, obviously I can't get any particular information about the dagger, but could you just describe it for me?
Yes, it is a dull metal, kind of like a dark metal. The blade is double-edged, so it's sharp on both sides. So it's kind of more of a daggery, an athame type dagger than like a knife type.
Oh yeah, you did mention that last time.
Yeah, and it's got a handle. The kind of the hilt bit is made of the same dark metal that the blade is. In fact, it actually looks like it might have been cast from made from one continuous piece.
Nice.
You don't see a join. And then the handle is a very light wood. It's wood, maybe bone. It's actually, or ivory. It's kind of hard to tell. It's so worn. Like, this thing looks really old. Not from the blade. The blade looks like brand new. But the handle is like smooth, completely smooth from years of usage.
Okay.
It's the only way
Years
that
of stabs.
handles ever really get to that point.
Years of stabs.
Oh yeah.
All the stabs. Am I able to identify what kind of metal this is, or know anything about it, being what my trade is?
Give me a general law advantage.
Awesome.
Bex, while he's rolling that, give me the detection roll for looking through that journal.
Okay.
Is a 3, which is a great success.
I don't know if that's a
Yeah, you think this is probably sky metal.
That's a 14, just a success.
What's sky metal?
Go ahead with. I was going to say what's sky metal, but go ahead with. X's.
So I was going to jump back to that second actually. So sky metal is literally what you're probably guessing it is, and it's meteorite.
Ooh, awesome.
Almost
That's awesome.
always exclusively used for like weaponry or ceremonial stuff for very influential clan members in various different races. All the races kind of use it if they can get their hands on it for very snazzy things. And you know that it is quite often used in like enchanting as well, because it is particularly susceptible to enchantment.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Bex, you have a look. Nyla has a look, and there is like mention of like the staff and kind of lots of references to like snakes and things, but you can't find anything that jumps out to you that might be an actual command word.
Grr. Okay.
Because you found two books, didn't you?
Yeah.
You found the book, and also there was a second book as well, wasn't there? There was the journal / lab notes, and another book.
Which you said was a spell book, but
I did. I thought I did. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember whether I told you it was a spell book or not.
that
but
was
yes,
good holding back of information there, Jack. You did tell us. I will literally just pass it over to Elias because I probably would make myself explode. Elias.
Yes, Nyla.
So this staff is, magic. I would say it quietly, and then I go magic.
Magic.
But it needs like a word to activate it, and it might turn into a snake.
Sweet.
Yeah, but I can't find it in this book. I'll keep reading it. It's a journal mainly about the carrion plague. But here's a spell book that I also found. So, but if you find the word for this, I call dibs.
That's an elven term.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's passed down through ancient right.
The right of
The
of
right
Ibs.
of this is mine.
The right of shotgun.
What's a shotgun?
Cool.
It's actually pronounced Sahotgun.
That would be more like dwarven though.
So, Garri, you get back to the mansion.
Okay.
You find it kind of empty. There's not really anybody here, like around the outside at least. You're just gonna go in and look for Pierre.
Yeah, I'll just start shouting his name.
The wagon is still in the kind of courtyardy bit where you parked it. And if you start shouting his name, there's not a response for like a little while. But then you kind of see him peeking out of an upstairs window, looking petrified.
Pierre, are you alright?
He kind of motions to you, like, shush. He's terrified, and he's just like, be quiet. Like, you can see he's like, doesn't want to make noise, but he's also like, shut up. Is the kind of suggestion he's giving you with his hands and face and eyes.
I'll just kind of go a bit closer. Like, are you in danger?
He's like on like the 3rd floor.
Are you in danger?
He like looks over his shoulder, nods like vehemently, and then disappears away from the window.
I will draw my sword and I'm gonna get the funk up there.
Nice. As you rush up the stairs, you collide bodily with a man.
Do I recognise him?
You do not.
What does he look like?
He's kind of tall, thin, gaunt. He's got kind of like narrow eyes that are kind of like beady. A kind of long, pointed nose and chin. Kind of weaselly looking. You kind of get a weird like, he just looks dodgy.
It's Utah.
Kind of gives a kind of an uneasy vibe off for some reason.
And I've never seen him in this place before.
Nope, you've never seen him here before.
In that case, I'll grab him by the sort of like the front of his shirt with my fist. I'll be like, "Who are you?"
I heard the explosion. I came to see if anybody else was here. I found the poor woman downstairs. She looks like she's been left for dead.
Yeah, that was like 2 hours ago, mate. What you been doing since then?
Well, I was looking around this rather palatial house. See if there was anybody else here.
And have you found anyone else?
No, but I heard something. I was making sure someone wasn't trapped on a higher floor.
Alright, well, be that as it may, you're coming with me, and I'll take him up, grab him, literally drag him up to where I thought Pierre might be.
You kind of go into... It's actually the room that Elias was staying in is the one you think that he was in. You go into the room and you see there's like a slightly shaking cabinet like across the room from you.
The puddle forming beneath it.
I will give the guy who I've grabbed I'm going to do a leadership role to try and intimidate him.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a 6. And that's just a success.
Okay.
It's not a great one.
What do you say?
I just want to give him that sort of like look, as if like you like just stay there basically while I go get Pierre.
He kind of like meekly nods his head. Give me insight.
I do have insights. Perception. Okay, so I need to roll 14 or under. And that's a 3, you guys.
Nice.
Very perceptive.
You don't think he's as scared as he looks.
In that case, I will grab him again, drag him over with me. I'll open up the dresser that's covered in urine.
Yeah.
And regret.
Pierre like screams as soon as the door is open.
What does that sound like, Jack?
Like as soon as I said,
Hang on, just let me turn
Pierre
you down
screams.
for a second.
I knew that you were gonna say.
Anybody listening on
What does that
headphones,
sound
ready?
like?
Rip headphone users.
I haven't done Pierre's voice in so long.
Well, this is the best way to start out, clearly.
Quick drink.
I believe he sounded like Douglas Fairbanks and not at all like some horrible squeaky man.
I think you
Not
might
at
be
all
wrong.
Like the Stewie Griffin Chamberlain
I don't even know.
devil baby that was created in episode 1. No, please! I'm too rich to die!
Pierre, I know you, and I know that you're not
Oh.
that rich.
Gary! No, I'm not! I'm not!
I know you're not. When you come out of that dresser, who have you seen this bloke before? Who's this?
I think he killed the woman. Oh, what's her name? Catelyn? Kate? I don't know.
What,
The woman you're here to see.
the magic user?
Yes, that one. I think
Oh.
he killed him. He killed her. But one of them died.
Oh, well, that's very interesting, I say as I turn around to the bloke and kind of like, as I've got him by the collar, just walking him towards the wall, put his back up against the wall, get right up into him. That's very, very interesting, that. Is what he's saying true?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. This man is clearly hysterical. Look at him. He's pissed himself. It's disgusting.
I mean, yeah, he has kind of pissed himself, but it's not the first time I've seen him piss himself. Doesn't mean
Yes, it is.
well, is it? Yeah, is it? Yeah, is it?
Yes, I think so.
Well, whatever. All right. Well, I think, mate. What's your name? I say to the guy, the new guy.
Can you... So the guy goes, my name... Oh, well, his hand flies to his pocket, and you see something come out of it in his hand, and you need to make me
A new character.
What a way for him to go all alone.
a luck dex save.
But I don't have any luck left.
More luck.
You can
Well,
choose
you
to
don't
fail.
have to do it, obviously, because it's a luck dex save, but
Ah.
he's doing something, and this is the way to prevent it from affecting you.
So what we're learning is, don't split the party twice.
But I don't have any luck. Is the thing, Jack.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's up to you as a player.
Do you not have any at all?
I do. I've got 7 left because I keep doing
That's-
major exploits to do cool
That's
stuff.
some.
You do keep doing major exploits.
Stop being so cool, Mark.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
I
how you
know,
get
but
around
it's-
it.
It's a podcast, isn't it? We've got to make it interesting.
No,
Yeah, it's
you
such
never
a
catch me
visual
doing cool
medium.
things.
I'm just having a look at my character abilities.
For the final time.
Enter a rage, declare subject, charm, fear, or madness. Is it a charm, fear, or madness?
No.
I think it's a dagger, is going to be my guess. So it's like some kind of hidden stiletto coming at your chest.
I will remember you.
Fuck's sake. I'm just going to take it on the chin.
Okay. So you see him, quick as a flash, pulls something out of his pocket and he throws it to the ground. And there is a flash and a bang, and you are completely blinded. Like this light, this crack of light, just like completely blinds you. You kind of stagger back involuntarily, releasing your grip on his chest, and you hear a crash. And after the few kind of seconds it takes you to get your bearings again, and kind of your vision comes back, the man is gone.
Okay. I turn to Pierre. So you're coming.
He is like on the floor on his ass, like clawing his eye.
In that case, I'll pick him up. I'll throw him over my shoulder, fireman style, and I will get out of the house. And if I don't see him as I'm leaving, I will head immediately to the bar. Yeah.
As you're kind of as he's being carried down the stairs, Pierre will be like, "Oh, Garri, the woman. We have to see if she's okay."
Are you talking about the same woman, the magic user?
Yes, I think he killed her.
I think she was all right, from what I remember. Was she all right? Out of character.
That was.
I mean, she was.
She was
but
all right from
that
the
was-
explosion,
That was
but
an amount of time ago.
yeah, it seems like he may have come and stabbed her or whatever since then.
But weren't the rescue services there?
They were. But Pierre, do you mean in the explosion or after the explosion?
No, afterwards. That's why he was after me. I saw him do something.
Oh, right. Okay. I must. Hey Pierre, I completely got wrong end of the stick there, mate. That's on me. That's on Garri. Where is she now?
Well, I saw them down towards the sunroom. Well, what used to be it.
All right. Well, I put
You
him
put me
down,
down.
and say, "Lead me to it."
He kind of sheepishly takes you to what used to be Catelyn's lab.
Okay.
The scene that you find when you get there is not the one you were expecting. In this kind of rubble wreckage of what used to be a beautiful sunroom in this really expensive manor that had been, kind of put into a position to be reused by, a magic user as a laboratory, is now little more than, an open grave. There are 3 guardsmen who have had their throats slit. Catelyn has been similarly treated, and probably most shockingly of all, Theo also lies throat cut, his robe, his order monk robe, stripped from him and pinned to the wall with a dagger.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Pierre, we've got to get the rest of them. We've got to get Elias. You know what to do.
What's that,
Yeah,
John?
across town.
Suddenly a horse enters the room.
John's like Elias just on the whisper on the wind is like, I've got no fucking clue.
Can I roll a detection check to see if I can find anything super hidden that isn't necessarily obvious? Maybe some
You can
clues.
definitely roll that, yes.
Some red hot clues. I shit you not, you guys. That is a 1.
We
Oh,
trust
That
you.
is, that is a genuine 1. I will send you
Nice.
pics. But yeah, that's a 1.
I don't see how sending us a pic proves anything, because you could literally just put the
Yeah,
dice on a 1.
put the dice on a
Yeah,
one.
It's
and
impossible.
I always
Can't be
think
done.
that, but it's,
Can't be
but
done.
It's funny.
It's impossible.
So, what you notice, Garry, that nobody else would have noticed probably, is that in
He's
the
not
corner-
lying.
Sorry, I can confirm that Mark has indeed sent us a picture of a 1.
Yeah. It happened.
Wow. Well, that's.
So, yeah,
I'm
what-
convinced.
What you see that someone else may not have noticed, Garry, is in the corner where the secret trapdoor was, or is rather, it doesn't go anywhere. There is a scrap of fabric caught in the trapdoor.
Do I have a look and risk getting killed? Or do I go get my buddies and risk losing the lead?
I mean, it's fine. If anything's going to happen, it'll probably just be a luck dex check. You'll be fine.
I got loads of luck. I've got luck going spare. Fuck it, I'll open the door. I'll open the trap door.
So it's kind of like, it's not like there's something in. It's just literally like caught on the corner of it. Like kind of, you noticed it because it was just like a different color to the surrounding area, but it is, you know, you wouldn't have seen it otherwise if it wasn't for a great success. And it's just a snatch of fabric, a swatch. It's a swatch of fabric.
There we go.
It's a whole book of different patterns.
Yeah, it's just a little like scrap of fabric. That's better, isn't
Scrap.
it? It's a little scrap of fabric that you can pick up, and it is
do.
a really, really dark red.
You say dark. Sorry, you broke up there, Jake. Did you say dark red?
Dark red. Yes, but it's a really like thin kind of. It's not like, so the fabric is very similar in weight to the monk robes, rather than it kind of looks the same fabric as what Elias wears with his robes.
Right.
Whereas it's more of a lightweight version, which is kind of similar to what the order monks wear, just as a kind of example.
Very.
What
interesting.
color's Elias's robe again?
It's pale red.
Blue.
Pale red. Okay.
Pale red.
I'd love it if it was like from when we went downstairs. You know, it's actually Elias's robe.
That would be great.
So I found this.
Elias
It's
is like-
definitely a clue.
Gary's like,
Look.
it's a clue.
No, that's
I
mine.
will. I will open the.
Love that you said blue. Oh, Elias.
I will open
Sorry,
the.
Gary.
I will open the trapdoor and just have a look down there to see if anyone's still there.
The torch is lit, which is not how you left it. You don't
Anyone
hear
down
anything down there. No, you
I'm
don't
gonna-
hear anybody.
I'll kind of say to Pierre to kind of stay there, and I will head down.
Okay. Elias, were you looking in that spell book that you found?
Oh,
in the
100%.
basement?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
give me detection. Just gonna build some tension over Gary's for a minute.
It turns out I'm not actually able to read. It
Is
was
that
all
nat
a lie.
20?
You've been pretending this whole
Oh.
time.
Yeah, I rolled another 19.
Oh wow.
In fact, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to use a reroll.
Ooh.
You do
He rolls a 20.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
7 with... What was I rolling?
Detection.
detection.
Was that perception?
Yes.
Great
Yes,
success.
it is. Great success. I think detection is perception or something else, actually.
Not according to my character sheet.
Insight is intelligence and perception.
Insight. Okay, I knew one of them was one or the other. Cool. Yeah, so you get a great success. You say a regular success.
Great.
And you were looking for the anything specific? You were looking for the command word.
I was looking for the. Nyla asked me to look for the command
Yeah.
word, so
I was
that's
just
what
checking that is what you were actually doing.
Yeah.
The command word. The command word is actually, you think, rather boring.
Snake.
It's
Like
it's
you
the.
probably could have guessed it. It is anguis, which is just snake in the language of magic.
Cool. I say it out loud with my mouth.
Nothing happens.
Oh.
You're not holding the staff though, are you?
No, well, I thought it'd be funny if it
No,
was just
I
turned into a snake
completely
monster.
agree.
Ah!
Just like throw it across the room into the barkeep's face.
Yep.
I think I found the command words,
Ooh,
Nyla.
and like Nyla does the Garri like excited hop.
It's anguist.
Okay.
Why don't you give it a go?
No. That would be a terrible
come
idea.
on.
I really want to.
Well, why did you want it if you were going to use it?
I thought it might be useful, like in a situation where a snake is useful, not in a bar.
It's not a one-time deal, I don't think.
I don't want to cause a panic, Elias. And asps are pretty dangerous.
Yeah, but you'd be controlling it.
I will put it into my belt, and I will just say, I'll try it later. I kind of want Garri to see it.
I remember when you were cool.
I don't.
I knew you were going to say that.
Once again, Grandel is just looking back and forth and grinning.
What is wrong with you?
It's funny.
What?
Never mind. Maybe it's a dwarven thing. You wouldn't get it.
Nyla sits back down, shakes her head, takes another drink. Just convinced that Grandel is insane.
So from a I'm going to tell you this now, Nyla, so you can look the stats up, so you've got them.
Yes.
You need to attune to it for it to work.
It wouldn't work anyway.
Elias will tell you that, and he knew that anyway.
Okay.
Attunement will take some time.
Cool.
An amount.
So Elias, from a very, very quick glance at this, and based on what you found in the diary, this is indeed a snakewood staff in the likeness of a snake, and it can be attuned to by anybody, which takes 1d4 weeks,
Oh my god, that's so long.
or 1d4 rounds if the person is a magic user.
There we go.
All magic weapons or items have this, where they're kind of for a class, and if anyone can use them, but it's just quicker for certain people to use them. And it obviously did belong to a magic user. But it can be used every 1d4 days. So every time you use it, you roll a d4 to see how long it'll take to recharge again.
That's cool.
And when you say the command word, it turns into a giant serpent,
Oh.
which is between 8 and 12 foot long, between 1 or 2 feet
shit.
thick.
Shit, son.
It's basically like you would be able to have a second pet.
And then I ride it into battle.
And essentially, it will last until it dies, at which point it will turn back into the stuff.
In my head, I'm just imagining fucking Nyla, who is, almost 6 foot tall elf, walking into town, riding a snake with a tiger running beside her.
See, Grandel's obviously sat there while Elias explains all of this to Nyla. And after it's all been explained, Grandel just sort of goes, I mean, I don't want to cast aspersions against this magic user, but it sounds like somebody was compensating for something.
What? The magic user who had a magical snake?
The
staff?
magic 6 foot long staff that looks like a snake that turns into an even bigger actual snake.
How many eyes does the
Who's-
snake
who's-
have, Jack?
Only 2.
Oh, okay.
But whose entire journal and, from the looks of things, spellbook is all about poison and disease. Like, he really picked a field of study.
After that's all explained, Grandel just goes, Elias, what do you make of this? And I hand him the dagger that Garri gave me.
Cool. Elias, do me an arcane law check.
Do me a magic.
And we will cut back to Garri.
6.
Oh, okay. We'll do that now.
I mean, it doesn't.
You don't have to
It
do it
doesn't
now.
take
we
me
can-
long to roll a dice.
Yeah.
No, I know. I don't know why I thought it would.
I almost choked on my drink.
We are going to cut back to Garri anyway. Garri, you get down the bottom of the ladder and you turn round and you guys took stuff from here, but you did not ransack it. Like literally, the shelves have been like overturned. Like there's like obviously like where people have like brushed the walls to see if there's like a secret door or something. Like this place has been gone over with a fine tooth comb pretty much. And the kind of the anger of the person doing it is pretty evident, just in the way that the scene is left. But there's nothing down here that's not broken furniture, to be honest.
The anger of the person who was unable to find something that we took.
That's how it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how somebody with an intelligence score might find it. I think.
And we've all got an intelligence score. It just might not be very good.
Can I see if it's obvious that anything like particular was found? There's no like open secret rooms or anything like that.
No. It's very much like it's just how you left it, but smashed up a bit.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna head back up the ladder and say to Pierre, mate, we gotta get out of here. This is not a safe place to be.
Let's take the wagon then.
Yeah,
I don't want to leave all my things here.
Well, I mean, I suppose so. All right, fine. If that's what you want to do, then yeah, no worries. We'll get the wagon and we'll head to the. I'll show you where everyone else is. We'll get you a room for the night, mate. We'll keep you safe.
Thank you, Garri. Oh, I thought I was going to die again.
Yeah, it's you've been in the walls, mate, ain't you? Yeah. All right. Well, come with me. I'll make sure that you're safe. And weapon drawn, I will take Pierre out to the wagon.
He's like really anxious. It's quite obvious. He's quite nervous. But he is kind of relaxed, kind of with you almost. Like it's obvious that your presence is making him more at ease. And yeah, you can go out to the wagon. There's no sign of the guy you saw. So I think you said you were going to head to the inn.
Yeah.
Cool. You will arrive back there shortly. Elias, you have a look at this dagger. And you reckon you know what this is.
Nice.
It's a dagger.
I make a stabby motion with it.
Cool. So you think that this is in fact a reflective dagger. You think that if this is polished up properly, the magic within it will be usable again. You think that maybe the reason why it's not as overtly magical as it could be is because it's kind of dulled. But you're pretty sure that this is a reflection dagger.
Do you convey that to...
I'm pretty sure this is a reflection dagger, Grandel.
And what's one of those when it's at home?
I think if it was properly polished, it'd be a lot more magical. Maybe. I can't remember the words that the GM just said, with his mouth.
I hate when that happens.
Essentially, you think that if this was polished up, it would be usably magical again. Like it would
magical.
unlock the magic within it. Currently, because it's dull, it's the kind of core spell of the reflection enchantment is just lessened by the fact that the actual blade itself doesn't have a reflective property, if that makes any sense. Because magic is like irritatingly literal sometimes. And what this effect will allow is once a week, the user who has attuned to it, and I'll tell you the attunement timelines in a minute, will be able to make a luck save to reflect an attack or magical effect back on the attacker.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're welcome.
That will take... that is 1d4 months to attune to, other than for rogues and fighters,
Nice.
for whom it takes 1d4 days.
Nice.
Which is obviously the time it takes to polish it up.
Mm-hmm. The act of polishing is the attunement ritual. I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Thank you very much. And I sort of, for the moment, I just sheathe it in my belt.
So an interesting point in terms of magical items there is that those two magical items have overt properties, so you can literally figure them out from looking at them. Some of the other magical items you found, for instance, the cameo that you've got, Grandel, you know it's magical, but you don't know what it does.
Yeah.
And same with Garri's sword. You know it's magical, but you're not entirely sure what the nature of the enchantment is. And that's because they're kind of subtle enchantments that are kind of passive, that have very specific trigger. Like, so because you have to overtly choose to use these actions, these things, you can figure out quite easily what it is to be able to ever do it. Whereas the kind of more subtle ones, you find out what they can do when they do it because a particular set of circumstances has been met.
Right.
So that's kind of the difference between the different types of magic item. Just an interesting point of interest there.
I think I've mentioned it before, but I have been wearing the cameo
you did say
brooch
you've
on
been
my
wearing the
shirt
cameo,
underneath
yeah.
my armor for quite a while now. So.
You have indeed. I have been paying attention.
Cool. I honestly, it was
Haven't
more
met
me. I
it,
couldn't
sadly.
remember if I'd mentioned it before or not.
Oh no, yeah, you did. I think the only times you've ever taken it off is to show it to other people.
Makes
To
sense.
see if they knew what it is. Like last time in Borgov's Antiques, where you were like,
Oh,
this?"
yeah, of
And I was
course.
like, no, I don't.
Never mind.
Cool.
Awesome.
At this point, Garri comes in through the door with a very scared-looking Pierre.
So,
Who, again,
Pierre.
he looks like he's scared but at ease with Garri, and then when he sees you guys, he does kind of like, like he does kind of relax a little bit because obviously he trusts you guys. Like he owes his life to you guys in a couple of ways, to be honest.
Is Bear in the back of the cart at the moment?
No, he's with you guys. I think.
He is with us. Okay.
Or did you leave him in the house?
I left him in the house.
Oh, in that case, he would have kind of followed.
That's what I
think
thought.
when
When he
When-
heard Gary shouting for Pierre.
when he heard Garri shouting, Bear would have appeared. Like after, probably. So yeah, he will be with them. We're not going to leave Bear on his own.
No.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
guys, she's dead. They're all dead.
What?
All of them. Yeah.
Who are dead?
The magic user, the monk, the lot of them. I went back to old Pierre, and there was this weird-looking bloke, and he looks proper shifty, right? So I grabbed him, and I said, where are you? And blah, 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 blah. Anyway, long story short, the place has been ransacked, the magic user's dead, and the monk is dead. We need to get fucking moving. Nah.
All right, Garri, settle down.
You settle down. You weren't there. Yeah. Hey?
You weren't there, man.
Who-
You
weren't
weren't there.
man.
Who
I
was
was there.
this weedy person? Can you describe him?
I don't know what his name was. I had him up against the wall, and he like pulled out like a bangy thing that made my eyes hurt, and he ran away.
It sounds like flash
Um,
powder.
Yeah, it really hurt, and I'm still like every time I blink, and I blink a bunch of times, and I'm like I can see like a white shape. Do you know what I mean? As he's blinking, it's just like see it right in front of my eyes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely
that?
flash powder.
Do you ever get that when you like stare into the sun for 10 minutes and like
You shouldn't do that, Gary.
what?
Don't stare. Like, try not to look straight at the sun, but definitely don't stare for any length of time.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Makes you sneeze.
Aye, lad.
Anyway, besides the point. As much fun as staring into the sun is, all right, that's besides the point right now. We need
Practically
to,
presidential these days.
yeah, we need to run and do something. Elias, you know what to do, don't you?
Sure.
Good. I told you, Pierre. I told you, Elias would know what to do. He's very clever.
Can you describe this man to me, please?
He
Gary?
was a man, and he had 2 legs, right? And he looked a little bit shifty, and he had like small eyes and a hooky nose, and teeth.
Jack, from that description, am I able to sort of go, that sounds like the bloke in the cell?
Give me. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Sounds like the cell bloke.
Nice.
Sounds like the man I saw in the cell block underneath the guard tower. He was shifty as hell.
Was he locked up?
I mean, I thought so, but to be fair, I didn't check the locks.
We should
I
go
mean,
speak to the captain.
We could do that. They didn't necessarily know that I was there sneaking about. Just
But we should at least
FYI.
report that they're dead.
Aye, it's worth letting somebody know that there's dead people in the house.
At this point, you've been in the bar for a few hours now. Nobody's been really coming or going at all. And then, from kind of like the back, you hear someone shouting. It sounds like a young lad, and he's like, Rupert, come on, man, where's our food? Starving. And you kind of, Rupert says to you guys, sorry, I'll be back in a second. You all got drinks, I think, so I'll be back in a minute. Just let me deal with this. And he kind of goes at the back, and you hear like a conversation go on where basically this guy is like, "You haven't fed us. We need feeding." Rupert's just like, "Well, no food has arrived from the guard to give you, and I can't give you my own supplies because no one's paying me for that. So until someone pays me for the food that you expect me to give you, I'm not giving it to you because you guys haven't got anything. You're in quarantine. I can't be giving you all my food. I'll go out of business." And he says, and the lad is just like, "Please, look, you know who I'm with. I need some food for her. Otherwise, she's gonna get weak enough that she's gonna die anyway, even though she hasn't got the plague." Rupert's just kind of, he is not moved by the man's pleas, and sends him on his way. And before long, he kind of re-emerges back in the bar, and says to you guys, "Sorry about that. Some of the lads from the watch are supposed to drop in some supplies for me to leave in a back room for the infected, but they haven't today for some reason. But it's fine. They're gonna die anyway, aren't they? So what's the worry?"
He said that someone wasn't infected.
Oh yeah, that's just Stephen. He thinks for some reason little Miss Esther isn't infected.
I instantly stand up and I run towards the door.
and start shouting to the man who's walking away.
He will turn. Obviously, Rupert is just like, "Oi, what's the matter with you?"
Sir, please.
Stephen, this that you can see kind of through to the back bar. It's kind of like, you know, those where you have like the two bars, like the members only bar and the main bar. It's kind of like that. So you kind of see through to the other bar. And this kind of young lad, maybe probably about 14, 15. He's got quite a deep voice for his age, but you see him kind of turn back over his shoulder and look at you as if to be like, "What?"
Come here, I'll give you some food.
He kind of comes into the bar and he's like, "I don't want to come too close, lady, because I don't want to infect you. Just leave it in the bar and I'll grab it."
You know Esther.
He kind of like grins, like a really sincere, like smitten kind of look. He's like, "Yeah, I do. Yeah."
What's your name?
Stephen.
Stephen. Esther Makario.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be able to get her?
It's not that easy, to be honest, miss. Because you know all the infected people are just wandering about, and I can't really like get to her. I don't want to go too close to her because she ain't sick like the rest of us.
Where is she then? How has she stayed
She's
fine till now?
She's in our house. Well, I suppose it's my house now, being that my mum's dead. But yeah, she's been staying in the attic. I leave food out for her on the first floor, and she comes down and gets it, and then goes back up there again. She came round to visit when we were all put into the lockdown, and I said to her she didn't look sick, that she should stay away from the rest of us, and so she did, and she's still fine. And everybody else just keeps dying, but she's fine, like her brother and everybody. But she's not, and I think that she needs to survive. But now she's getting sick because not because of us sick, but because we ain't got no food to eat because they're not feeding us, so that we die faster and that, innit?
Okay. Look. Wait here for like 5 minutes, and I will bring you food and a letter to give her, if that's okay.
Yeah, all right. I've got nothing but time, really.
Okay. And then I will go back into the bar to see my friends. She really is alive.
We can't get to her.
We should probably go and get to her.
That's two very opposing views there. We can't get to her. We should get to her.
I don't want the carrion plague. That's you know. I don't want it.
She's managed to not contract it. She's been there for weeks. How is that
And
possible?
good for her. Based on the last few, weeks, months hanging out with you people, I don't feel my luck's that good.
Nor does Garri.
No, about 7.
Would I know, Jack, if the carrion plague can be transmitted to animals?
Oh, that's good.
You probably
I
wouldn't
might.
know, but Elias could probably make an apothecary check.
The question then becomes tiger or snake?
Oh, I can't do the snake yet.
I know.
Send them both. The cavalry's arrived. It's weird though.
Take Bear carrying the staff in his mouth.
Because
I got a regular success with a 12.
it's never been documented.
I think Bear would be entirely safe. No.
Is that a lie?
And that's an Elias guarantee.
Oh, God.
Can we oppose each other to see if I think that Elias is lying? Elias.
Does Elias think
he
he's
I
lying?
don't know.
Like I say, so I think it comes from a case of, it's like I say, there's no documented cases of animals getting it, and you have seen birds flying in and out of there. Is kind of where you're making this assumption from.
Wait. I'm gonna.
I think given the fact that this disease is incredibly contagious to humanoids, I assume, and that there is no cure. I think if animals were able to contract and spread the disease, I think it
Everyone
would
would
be
have
running a lot
it.
more kind of a lot more rampant.
That makes sense.
I assume that it is perfectly safe.
I don't want to send Bear in and then he gets sick. I love this tiger.
Yeah, but we know there's a cure off in the Mage's Tower off to the east, so it's fine. We'll just go and get the cure if there is a problem.
That
I'll
may
go.
even
I'll
be
go
why
with you.
Esther is okay.
Yeah, but then that doesn't fix the problem with none of us dying. If you're going to go, Garri, you should probably just go on your own.
I never get ill. Everyone always used to get colds, and I never get colds. Everyone got like, oh, I've eaten this really bad meat. I'm going to be sick and sit on the toilet for a couple of days. I never get that. Iron stomach Garri is what they call me.
While Garri is telling his tale of his iron stomach, I'm going to go back to the boy and say, Stephen, can you tell me, are there any like cats or rats on that side, dogs?
Oh yeah.
And are they fine?
I think so.
You haven't seen any catch the plague or die strangely?
The only ones that have been dying are the ones people have been catching to eat.
Okay. Right, okay, in which case I will...
Mainly dogs, that is. Cats are quite difficult.
Good. You're certainly not going to catch this one.
So we need a sign to put around Bear's neck that says, "Not food.
Please do not try and attack the tiger.
Do not eat."
I mean, who would?
Exactly.
Realistically.
Okay, in which case I'm going to quickly scribble a letter to Esther, Jack.
Yes.
Basically saying, we're here to help you. Stick close to the tiger. He will keep everyone away from you. Follow him back to the bar.
Okay.
Sign, Nyla.
And you're sending Bear
With Stephen.
back with Stephen. Cool.
And
You
I will
said Stephen. I mean, in terms of game mechanics, barbarians are resistant to disease, or is it Scorn? Might be Scorn that's resistant to disease. One of the two. I know.
I think it's
Garri is
Half
resistant
Scorn.
to disease.
Gary is. Gary's.
I just think we should send Garri.
Take Bear with him.
Gain advantage on blah blah blah. Poor memory, physical.
I mean,
ability.
it's
There you go.
it's better than going alone.
Advantage on strength-related checks and to avoid disease. Scorn.
So you're not immune.
It's assuming
you're
there's
just...
there's a saving throw.
Yeah.
Assuming I don't fuck up the rolls, and assuming
You
I'm
are
going to
running
be able
out
to
of
get
luck.
back out. I am running out of luck.
Do you have
Maybe it is
a
worth
reroll?
sending Bear. If he's immune, now that I think about it, I was giving it the big one.
Yeah.
Is that? I'll go. I'm probably immune if I'm lucky.
Oh wait, there was that time I got the chicken pox. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right. Well, if you're pretty confident then that Bear.
You do also have an open wound on your leg as well.
Yeah, you are
That's true.
also hobbled.
All
Cool.
right.
Yeah, that's fine. You can send Bear
Yeah,
off.
I will-
Stephen is
I'm gonna...
very excited by the sight of a tiger. He is just like, what?
I'm gonna like be very like I can talk to Bear, but it's very simple.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, follow this boy, find the girl he takes you to, bring her back here, keep everyone else away from her. Don't let anyone get close. Quickly.
He nods. Um. Hi everyone, hope you're having a good time enjoying the episode. This is the final section of the Bridgeton saga we've been on, so hopefully you'll be satisfied with what happens. As always, please come find us on social media. You can use #Nancast to find us. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of those. One of the things we desperate for is fan art, and one of the bits that happens in this next half of this episode, section 2, is going to be in desperate need of it. It's the most adorable thing, and I would love to see it brought to life. And I know that the same goes for all the other guys here as well. So you'll know it when you get there. I think Bex actually actively calls out for it. Yeah, that needs doing. So please, if you enjoy the podcast and you have any, even not any artistic skill, we'd love some fan art. Next episode is going to be the last episode of the backstory set. No, we're not doing one for Garri. The reasons for that are because kind of Garri doesn't really have a backstory. He is just a regular person. Nothing really interesting happened to him. That's kind of the point of him. So we have some ideas of something we might do in the future with Garri instead of a backstory, but it's not going to happen during this chapter, which is coming to an end next. Probably it'll be before the end of this year. But anyway, the next episode is going to be Eliza's backstory. It's going to be on the 20th of August. It'll probably, hopefully, let a few pieces fall into place for those of you who have been paying attention. Yeah, that's everything from me, I think. Thanks again for listening. See you next time. Thanks. Bye. So, you send Bear off with Stephen, who's, as I said, very excited to see a tiger. Like, that's made his life, frankly.
Me too.
Which isn't difficult.
It's short life.
What remains of it?
I must stop singing that.
Yeah, we'll get copyrighted.
My singing's not that good.
So yeah, Bear goes off, and what do you do whilst you wait for him to return?
I'm just gonna.
You're gonna continue to rifle through your backpacks,
Yeah.
figuring out what magic shit you might have.
I think someone should
I
go
have,
to the police station.
That's a good idea.
Maybe I'll go to the police station.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for Bear because
Garri ain't got no stuff in his backpacks.
I was going to say, I have 3 padlocked journals, which I have yet to open.
You've opened one of them.
I've opened one of them. Okay.
It was full of like records of debt.
Oh, yeah, no, I do remember. Well, I could go for another one of those.
What were they? So one was magically sealed, you couldn't open.
Mm-hmm.
And the other was just locked and you couldn't figure out how to get into it. It was just, you didn't at the time manage to crack the lock.
Yeah, I think I did a crappy roll on that one.
I think it's a good idea for Garri to go to the police station because he's already met the captain, and Elias to go as an envoy of the magic users and explain what's happened.
Will you come with me, Elias? Because I don't really know what to say.
I mean, I have been waiting to flex my my charisma muscles.
Yeah.
Just don't lie or try and like...
Or talk.
No, you can talk. Just...
Or try and convey any kind of emotion.
Yeah.
Just...
Be yourself.
Be Lieutenant Holt. Captain Holt, sorry. From Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
You can use like big fancy words, and I'll just explain what happens.
Look at that. You brought back my smile.
You can go as well, Grandel, if you want. I'm happy to wait here for Bear.
I want to have a look, try and open up this ledger again. Plus, this is where I'm not doing this in an accent, that's wrong. I'm going to stay here. I've got a thing I want to check out, and plus, this is where the booze is.
Yeah. Also, I will pay the barkeeper for, like, enough food for, I don't know, 10 people that I can,
Cool. Yeah, it's like
I can give
a couple
Stephen.
of gold. It's just like literally like really rough rations and stuff, but he as long as someone's paying him something for it, so it's not 100% loss, he'll give them food.
Yeah,
He's not heartless.
I will
he's
pay
just
for it.
a businessman. Cool, lovely. He will organise that then. Okay. So we'll quickly do Grandel's locked book first. So give me traps and locks on that one.
Yeah. That's a 15, which is a success.
Yeah. You figure out why you couldn't do it last time. It's because it's a fake lock. It's like a double bluff situation. The actual lock is on the side of the lock, not on the top of the lock. Not particularly difficult to break into. It's just noticing it, which is the problem.
Okay.
And I think in the back of a car, bumping around when you were trying to be discreet, probably not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But you can get into that.
Awesome.
Pierre will kind of lean over when you get those two ledgers out, because obviously his name is written in them quite a lot. And he will recognise the ledger as the ledger of the guy that he owed a load of money to and took his eye.
Yep.
We did tell him that we burnt them.
You did.
I
And he'll be like, that looks a lot like my friend's ledger.
This one? No, this one, no, I don't think so. This one, and I pull out the one that I already opened. I go, now this one, it is. You know, I wanted to have a quick look. I didn't tell anybody, like, covering for everybody else's lies. And I just hand it to him, like, you know, feel free to have a look.
He does.
Yeah, I thought he would. And while he's
You see him,
distracted
like-
with that,
So this one that had the padlock on it, that was kind of double blind padlock type thing. You get into that, and it is kind of like a journal.
again, so
but-
many journals.
People like to journal in this world. It's a common pastime.
No TV.
But this is written in an archaic script. Like it's like calligraphy, and it's like reading Old English.
Okay.
And it's just like weird. You think that it seems to be like, it's like I say journal because you start reading it and it's like, you know, I did this today type thing. But as you're kind of looking through it, you realize it might be more like a story,
Right.
but told in like the first person, like, which is, I suppose, is what a journal is. But it becomes less like a you know, plotting down your thoughts on paper, and more of a narrative as it goes on. And you kind of flick through a bit, and there are some like really rough sketches of like illustrations, and you think probably this is like a passion project, like a novel this guy was trying to write.
Wow.
Or like when I say this guy, like the person who wrote it, you don't necessarily think it was the person who you stole it from.
Right.
Give
Is
me
it any
detection.
good?
Give me detection.
That is a 14, which is just a success.
So the very last page reveals something, and it says, and that was the tale of this man's journeys. May the story continue with my 6 sons. And it is signed in very ugly, flourishy handwriting.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking for a name. Fanavor Silvertongue.
Nice. Is that a name that I recognize?
Part of it is.
Silvertongue.
Yeah.
Where do I recognize it from?
Gislade.
Ah, yes. Ah,
Windmill.
okay. Who may or may not be dead, we don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. You never found him.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is... Yeah, it's not bad. It's kind of like a bit... I don't know.
It's a bit like a flowery bard wrote it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Interesting.
Flowery Bard, who apparently had 6 children.
Yeah, successfully flowery bard.
You could basically say he was a deflowery bard.
Probably wouldn't.
No, I knew it
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Not the kind of trope we're wanting here. Yeah, so you've done a look at a book. Congratulations.
Thank you for that.
We shall cut away before I say anything more inappropriate to Elias and Garri arriving at the bridge. You kind of get to the bridge, and there is a bit of a commotion going on outside. You see the guard captain shouting into like the hubbub, and yeah, there's a bit of a thing going on.
Between who and what?
From what you can see, the guards are trying to keep someone in the bridge.
Come along, Garri. Let's go and have a look.
All right, yeah.
I approach.
Yeah, when you get a bit closer, it's pretty evident that there are some people that are in the bridge that the guardsmen are trying to keep back. They look like pretty well armed, like mercenary types, which you may remember Grandel had mentioned he saw outside when he came here earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they have broken through and are now in the bridge trying to get into the rest of the town.
Well, shit. Who's winning?
It's kind of hard to tell, to be honest. The guards are kind of managing to keep them in the bridge, but where it's kind of like they've bottlenecked it in the wrong place, like in the wrong way. Like they've managed to barricade it off in a position that means that they don't quite have the upper hand, because they're at the bottom of the steps going up into it, and it's kind of like the doorway is narrower than their position, so they're many against few, but the few have like a height advantage. So it's kind of like they're quite evenly matched, but you think maybe the mercenaries are kind of edging it in terms of like if you were a betting man, you probably think that the mercenaries will eventually win, but it will probably take a while.
What numbers are we talking?
Probably 50 guardsmen.
Oh, it's a lot.
And then like some, you can't really see all the mercenaries because it's a narrower thing. And I say 50 guardsmen, I mean like there's like 7 or 8 kind of at the barricade. Then there's like others that are archers kind of waiting. And then there are a few like beyond the barricade actually like trying to fight them back. And then the others are just kind of running about in a bit of a panic, to be honest. Because obviously there are people, like civilians, are kind of getting in the way and stuff.
Do you think we should lend them a hand, Garri?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. All right, well, I'll tell you what.
Well, let's just go for some kind of like intimidation first before we open their skulls up.
All right, well, I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
All right, fine. All right, well, let's get up there. You hang back a little bit, get yourself a nice position, and I'll get right in there and I'll try and sort of, scare him off.
Okay. You can get in there pretty much. I mean, when you start approaching, the guard captain does kind of shout, "What do you think you're doing?" at you.
I'm all right. I'm here to give you a hand. I've got something to report first, but I'll give you a hand first if you want. Do you need a hand?
I think we've got this under control.
Well,
Thank you. What do you mean you have something to report?
Well, I mean, do ya? This has been going on for hours, isn't it?
Yes, they're beginning to tire. It's fine.
Whereabouts are you, Elias?
Stood just behind you.
I'll come up close to the guard. So, are you?
He kind of, you do dwarf him because you're a very tall man, but he's not like diminutive in any manner. He's just like obviously not as tall as Scorn, and he just looks at you, not phased really at all, and is like, "What did you want to tell me? I'm trying to prevent an incursion to the town."
I mean, that's fine, but there's already been an incursion on some people there. I'd like to report a murder, several murders,
Oh, for heaven's sake, where?
in the big house.
Okay, I'm going to assume you mean the Makario mansion.
That's-
The Makario
Instead,
mansion.
That's
Yes.
Okay.
That's right, the big house.
Catelyn and Theo have been murdered.
The magic user and the monk.
Yes, thank you. I know who Catherine and Theo are.
All right, well, just to report a crime, mate.
Yes, well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Very good citizen. But obviously, this is a bit more pressing at the moment.
All right, well,
Well,
I'll tell you what.
Possibly. How about me and the Scorn end this back and forth?
Half score.
Half Scorn, sorry, Garri. Hardly seems important right now. But I didn't call you a scorned, so I should get points.
I was about to say, but I didn't want to butt in.
Well, that's I do award you 10 points. That is
10 race points.
that's fair. Write that down. Make sure you write that down on the sheet.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna.
maybe don't.
I'm
Maybe
not
don't
a
pull it up
massive
later
fan
on.
of where this
randomly.
episode is going, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe don't in like 10 episodes time being like, can I spend my
Can I
race?
spend my race points?
On what is the problem?
No one will
Getting
listen.
out of a really sticky situation.
Right? I want to spend my race points. I'm human, damn it.
Can we ask you a quick question about the person that you were holding captive earlier today that seems to be murdering people?
The guard like looks around in an exasperated manner and is just like, yes, he's probably still down there.
Well,
Kind of
by all
part of the
accounts,
reason we're trying to push back this wave of irritating mercenaries. Those bloody merchants.
I mean, would you like me and Garri to deal with them?
I don't see what two men are going to do against 30 well-armed mercenaries.
I mean, that's very judgmental, really. I mean, how many guardsmen have you got?
Like 50.
And it's taken you several hours to get to this point, and yet they're still coming. I'm just saying, we can assist. And then we can get to the small matter of your magic
You know
user
what?
and Alderman
You know what?
being murdered
You
by
think
the
you
person.
can deal with them? I'll just call my men off, and you can hold back the waves of mercenaries. How's that?
I mean,
Would you like that? If I just called my men back and you just went off and did it on your own?
you're being very obtuse. I mean, the way I see it, you've got a man that you've kept in custody has escaped somehow and murdered the magic user and the order monk in your town. So
And 3 guards.
Yeah, so maybe don't get all funny with us when we're just here trying to help. You know, I understand. And I get it. I've been there. We've all been under stress. It's fine, you know.
Garri,
Yes.
I've got this. I cast Gaze of Beguilement on the guard
Gales of
captain.
beguilement. Okay.
Now he is not willing. He is able to do a will
Is he?
luck save to resist.
He got a nat 20.
Okay.
Nice.
So he is beguiled.
Beguiled.
But Gales.
He regards me as a trusted friend.
And what do you need to do?
What do I need to do?
Yeah.
A dark and dangerous magic check.
Yes,
I
you
have
do.
already rolled and already passed.
Woo!
What's the count?
4.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name, Mr. Guard Captain.
You've never asked.
But I am asking now. This is a roundabout way of me.
So strange that you have never asked, trusted friend.
I feel like we've known each other for a long time, and
How long does that last?
4d6 hours.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's Justin.
Justin, my good friend Justin.
No, Justin. It's a common mistake.
Just-un.
Yes.
Best friends.
Awesome.
Just
Best
an
friends.
acquaintance.
Can we ask you a few questions, please, Justin?
Absolutely.
So who is this gentleman that you have captive? I say captive. I mean, he's more of a prisoner than a captive. I feel like there's a distinct difference. But who is this gentleman that you have?
He's just nodding along with you. And
Yeah.
says, just some ne'er-do-well that was caught trying to break into the Makario mansion a few weeks ago.
And when was last time you... In fact, fuck this. Can we go down and see him?
Sure. But there's some people in the way.
Yeah, but me and you are like best pals. I mean, surely you can...
You're referring to the mercenaries in that statement.
Yeah, he points to the barricaded doorway into the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's like they're in the way.
Are they?
Garri, let's do some scaring.
Yeah. Are these? Paint me a word picture here, Jack. Are they up at sort of a higher level? Are they at ground level?
So yeah, so the way that the bridge is, it's kind of like a raised up. You kind of walk up a small, probably 5 or 6 steps up into the doorway. 'Cause obviously, it's a big kind of covered bridge, if you remember.
Yeah.
In which there are many buildings, one of which happens to be the guardhouse. So you walk up maybe 5 or 6 steps into it, and there's big kind of iron doors that are currently open, and at the bottom of the steps there is like a very ramshackle, cobbled together barricade that is currently. It's not like there's not like an actual battle going on right now. It's more like pot shots from both people, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there's like literally they're pushing each other back. There's a couple of guardsmen that are the other side of the barrier, kind of on the stairs, like ready to kind of try and push in maybe, but there's also, you can see the bandits or mercenaries kind of in the doorway, and like every now and again an arrow will just fly out of the door and like narrowly miss one of the guardsmen that are kind of crouching behind the barrier, who are also trying to get shots off into the bridge. It's very much one of those kind of, it's a bit of a stalemate, but
Sure.
you, as I said, Elias, just from numbers and looking at it, thinks maybe that the mercenaries have got a bit of a better position. Just with the kind of higher, they're quite defendable because it's a higher up and it's a narrow doorway. So pushing them back is going to be quite difficult. But equally, them pushing out would be quite difficult. So it's kind of got on itself to a bit of a stalemate.
Elias, do you reckon like talking's the best way, or shall I just start killing people?
I'm not sure about killing. I think we need to like somewhere in between that, Garri.
Maiming.
What would
I
you-
think more
what would
kind
you
of.
recommend?
Well, I was thinking I could either put a lot of them to sleep or scare
That might be
them.
nice. I mean, if you've got scary magics, I find it quite scary. By all means, have at it, and I will take the arrows and pot shots that come your way while you do it, if you like.
Awesome.
If only we had a Holocaust cloak.
What?
A what?
What?
Nobody. Princess Bride reference. Never mind.
No.
God, that's a deep cut, mate. Like, I've not watched The
Oh,
Princess
that's
Bride
a
in
I
like
don't
4
feel like it
years.
is. Princess Bride's amazing.
It's great, but I haven't watched it in a long time.
Well, you should fix that.
Oh, I'll go watch it now. Okay, bye, guys.
Do that.
Bye, Bex.
No, this is worthwhile.
Tell us all about it on your Princess Bride podcast.
Oh yeah, come join my Princess Bride podcast.
the podcast Bride.
I can't. What's the Wesley
It's inconceivable.
Cast? Yeah, I was gonna say it's the Wesley cast or it's inconceivable. I couldn't decide.
The Dredge podcast Roberts.
Justin,
Yes,
you trust me, right?
absolutely and unequivocally.
Well, I think we should mount a charge.
Okay.
I'm up.
Awesome.
I'm up for that. I'm up for that.
Let's do it.
Remember you.
You stole my bit. Fuck you.
Oh, you didn't do it. You go.
It's
You know.
because I was trying to like leave the tension to build. Fuck's sake. I'll sing when they die.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, he kind of starts barking orders at his men, and then like every time he does that, he looks at you and he's like, "Yeah."
How far away are they?
What, the men?
The bad guys.
Oh, sorry,
The
I was
enemy.
like the men. The enemy are from where you are now, or from the barricade.
Either or.
From the barricade, they are about 15 foot up a set of stairs.
Oh, okay. This has got 240-foot range.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm going to cast Insidious Slumber on the crowd.
Nice.
Of enemies.
Of the enemies.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Cool. Give me that roll.
12 hit dice of them fall asleep.
I heard 12 of them fall. Actually, saying that.
12 hit dice.
Yeah, but I don't know whether they have how many hit dice they have. So
I can't imagine they got a lot. Was my assumption.
Trained
I heard
mercenaries.
11.
Did I say 11?
No, I'm just saying they've got 11
Oh.
hit dice. You put 1.1 away. Whatever.
One of them gets just a little bit sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my leg's
One
gone
of,
to sleep.
one of them
That's
falls asleep. One of them yawns.
How do
Go,
you
Garri.
spell
Wait.
Human. Okay, they have one hit dice
Human.
each. So
Half of them,
yeah,
pretty much, fall asleep, I assume.
pretty much. And
Nice.
the rest of them are very confused by this.
Now, Gary, go.
Okay.
But just be scary, not killy.
well,
He shouts after them.
well.
Let's be scared, not killing. Mm.
Well. Fuck it. I fly into a rage and fall out
That
there.
is scary.
Double, two hand axes, two battle axes.
I did roll my Dark and Dangerous, by the way, and it's fine.
Thank you.
Just so you know.
Scream.
Accidentally summon like a demon in there with them. Like
That
sorry.
would also be scary.
Yeah, that would be scary.
Now, I would like, while I'm barreling in, to roll a leadership check to intimidate
You
while I go.
you want to intimidate while you go, yeah?
I'm trying, but I did roll a 19, so I guess I'm just gonna die.
You trip over your axe.
Okay, so not particularly intimidating.
And that's the
but-
point where I want Justin to send the guards in as well.
Oh yeah, I guess that's what you were.
Yeah.
Gary, you are joined by a sudden rush of enemies, not enemies, of the guardsmen. Is Justin going with them?
Yeah.
Yep. So Justin charges behind you, and I will allow you to re-roll your intimidate for free.
Excellent. It's another 19. So
Oh,
Oh wow! It's not
Here
meant to be.
So
Wow.
here
You're
we
just
are.
too cuddly.
That's what it is. Just
He's just too much of a nice guy.
as he's running, he goes, "Rawr!" No, wait. Oh, wait. Let me try that. Rawr! No.
grr.
Grr. Arg.
Too many
Yeah.
references.
Just
That's what I'm here for.
not
Cool.
Not really doing it.
Yeah, you run into the the guys just inside the doorway have all fallen asleep. As you run in, you kind of see this kind of lumps of people, not lumps of people,
Groups?
slumped people.
That was a
Um,
sentence.
Lumps of people.
Yeah. Just lumps of people. Strewn
What
all over.
happened to them? My God.
So you kind of burst through the doorway, and you kind of, I think the reason why your intimidate doesn't quite work is because your eyes take a second to adjust to the darker inside, and you're just like, ugh. And then by the time you blinked a few times with the white shape in your eyes, you kind of go to intimidate them, and by that point they've all kind of got their arrows, they're like bows up and like trained on you.
Yeah, sure.
And then as that happens, you're like, you open your mouth to kind of say something else, and the guardsmen charge in behind you, and the mercenaries loose their arrows.
Okay.
I was definitely hoping you to be a bit scarier than that, Garri.
Are you
Well,
gonna duck them? Are you gonna try and dodge out of the way? Are you just gonna take it?
I'm just going to take it on the chin. I'm trying to be scary, and I think the scariest thing that someone could do is just run straight at you
It's getting
Take-
shot with like
Get an
10
arrow
arrows.
and not react.
and just not even flinch and just
To be
come
fair, that
straight
is
at you.
pretty scary. That would scare the shit out of me if someone was running at me and I shot an arrow at them and they kept coming.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that would do it.
what have I done? I've made a terrible decision here.
I'll take it on the chin.
Let's see. Sorry, look up the thingy. What's it again? H for human. H for human.
Jack has his encyclopedia of everything. He's just gone to H for human. Oh.
What's this? Oh, we've done that bit. That's fine. So, that is going to be... Wow. These guys are terrible shots.
Stormtroopers.
John, roll me a percentile.
24.
Cool. That is literally the highest number you could have gotten. This would have happened for. These arrows fly towards you, Garri, and they just miss you. Like they obviously weren't really aiming at you. You think maybe that must be the answer because they're not going anywhere near you. And Elias, I suppose you're kind of outside still. You didn't go in with them.
I was kind of following slowly behind.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be
As
in
you
the,
kind of
the
come
fray.
in the doorway, you see like 6 of the men that were going in, just downed by arrows. One of which is Justin.
Oh, no.
They're kind of just shot full of arrows. A couple of arrows kind of fly past you where they just were so poorly aimed. And yeah, you're now in a room with
I thought that was going to go better.
18 mercenaries.
And
Okay.
how many guards?
9.
That's less good.
Roll initiative.
All right.
Regular success.
I rolled a 20, so I mean that's not great.
It's a fail. It's
It's
fine.
not the best you've ever rolled.
You
to
might
be honest.
say it's actually the worst that you can roll.
Oh, is it
You,
a terrible
could say that.
failure?
You could say that.
It's a 20. Yeah.
Oh god.
Luckily
Yeah.
for you, there's no such thing as terrible failures in
In
initiative.
initiative.
Phew.
So,
You don't get to act this round.
but
Die.
God, can you
instantly.
imagine? But Elias, it's you first.
I'm going to put some more of them to sleep. It worked so well the first time.
I mean, it did work pretty well, to be fair.
It did.
Is that what we're going with? Is that how we're spending it?
I mean, there could have been 30 of them in there.
That's true.
10 hit dice.
Outnumber you almost 2 to 1.
Cool. 10 of them drop.
Nice.
That's even the odds.
Let that be a lesson to you. Grr.
Are you
I
trying
shout
to
from the back.
intimidate?
I am.
Give me intimidate.
You ready for this?
I'm so ready.
If this is a natural one, I'd be so happy.
Well, I rolled a 7, but it's still a failure.
Oh,
Well, there you go. They're kind of like, they are a bit unnerved by the fact that, 10 of their friends, 10
28.
more of their allies
28 of their friends.
just drop to the floor. So you've you've like dropped like 22 of their friends.
22, yeah.
22.
And there's 8 of them left, and they're just like, but you're kind of, they're kind of like,
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, right.
They were scared for a moment, and then you went grrr, and they just were confused by that. And it broke the scaredness.
And it's now the guards go. They rush up, and oh my god,
They are also stormtroopers.
they really are. Okay, 3 of them hit. So 3 of the the mercenaries are, to be fair, the ones that did hit did pretty good damage. So 3 more of the mercenaries are taken out. These ones are murdered horribly though, rather than just subdued magically in a pleasant manner. So it's now their go. They're just going to attack the guardsmen that attacked them. That seems like the logical thing to do when somebody is trying to kill you. So 3 of the guardsmen get killed.
So we're down to 6 versus 5 plus Garri and Elias.
That's Garri and Elias. And it's Garri's go.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to get myself into a position where I could attack one and then another. So kind of 2 groups together. First one is a 13.
Mm-hmm.
That hit?
Yep.
Nice.
Excellent. There it is.
Oh, no, it's not. It's a 14. I'm really sorry. I
Okay.
misremembered.
All right, we'll miss. Second one.
Oh, wait. I was looking at the wrong human. Sorry, there's like 6 different types of human in here. These guys had bows, so you're fine.
Fair enough. Cool. That is an 11 damage.
You, cut him in half.
Excellent. Second one is 17 to hit, which I'm assuming is going to hit.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
And that one is a 12 damage.
That also horribly murders him.
Excellent. And then I basically scream and then point at one particular guy who's one of the 3 people just right in the eyes and just scream at him, pointing. And that'd be the end of my go.
The others run away.
I bet they do.
Huzzah. Garri.
I'm still raging, but yes.
He says.
Have you enjoyed our little adventure?
I mean, I would imagine I'm kind of punching sleeping people at the moment.
Nice. I would, if you ever want to go on a little Garri Elias adventure again, I probably wouldn't tell the others about this. Let's keep this between us.
I was gonna say like we switch back over to the bar and then Nyla and Grandel are like playing chess or something, having a
Like,
cup of
literally,
coffee.
Like you cut
Just-
back and Elias, you're like looking through books, like making notes about like people who owe this guy money.
Yeah.
Like
Pierre's in the corner with his books. We're playing chess. There's no dialogue.
No.
It's just like 10 seconds of that serenity,
and
and
then
then
like-
back
there's
to the
dialogue, but
chaos.
it's literally in silence for like 10 seconds, and then Nyla moves a piece and takes one of your pieces, and you're like, good move. And that's basically all that's said.
Nice.
Cuts back to Garri just tearing someone in half like a phone
Just
book.
frothing at the mouth. Just
I like our
Oh,
adventure,
dear.
Grandel.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially as a juxtaposition.
There's
I
some
love
like
it.
opera
When-
playing in the background or some
Yeah.
classical music.
When
Uh,
Garri
Just Grandel
comes
looks
back
out the
to
window and goes,
senses-
"Is it raining?" Oh no.
Yeah, when Garri comes back to his senses, he would probably agree with you.
what are you doing
I'm gonna go and
with your lives?
What
I'm
are
just
you
gonna ignore
doing,
this lot.
crazy
Um,
bastards?
I'm gonna head in and see if I can get down to the cells.
Yeah, you can with pretty much with relative ease. It's not like it's like Grandel found it, but it took him a little while because he was being sneaky. You just brashly wandering about opening doors, so you find it pretty easy. And you can make your way down to the cells,
Sweet.
all of which are empty.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Theory confirmed.
Anything
And
else
only
you're
cost
doing
the
while you're
lives
here?
of a dozen
Does
people.
does the cell look like? I mean, it might be difficult to know, but it does. I mean, if it's been forced open, would I be able to tell? Would I be able to tell if something's been picked open? I doubt it.
You'd have to go down to it.
Oh, I'm totally doing that.
Okay, so it's obviously because it's like rushing water and stuff. You remember the description from last time.
Yeah.
And so you go down to it, yeah, and it looks like it's been opened, just open with a key. Like it's an open cell. It's not like there doesn't look like anything untoward has happened here, as far as you can tell. You're not really an expert on locks, though.
No. That I am not.
Anything else you're doing here?
Am I able to discern, like, from the tracks in front of the cell, whether two people left together or?
It's like slick wet because of the constant rushing water.
Oh yeah.
So no, not
And
even
there's nothing
Nyla
in-
could do that.
There's nothing in the cell. He hasn't like tunneled out or anything.
To the
No.
river below.
No.
Is the captain's dead? I'm assuming.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Interesting.
Arrow to the eye.
Oh,
Well, that'll do it.
it's a hell of a
I mean, that's how he would have wanted to go. I knew that about him being
Being
best
his
friends.
closest friend,
You've
yeah.
never met him.
The beguilement is two-way.
Oh, okay.
What we've learned is that we shouldn't get people to tell us their names.
and that is also
Instant death.
dangerous canon to lay down. That's,
Isn't it?
Nice
Isn't
to
it?
meet you. Please don't tell me what your name is.
Or anything about you,
No,
any details,
no
if you got
details,
family
don't-
members, don't want to know.
I don't want to know if you're married or you had kids. Just stay away from me.
I mean, it might not have gone terribly well, Gary, but we did fix one problem, kind of.
I think you did incredibly well, Elias. I think you've proven yourself more and more warrior-like every single day. I know you. You seem like such a weedy little fella when I first met you, but if I'm honest, Elias, I wouldn't like to fight you.
Thanks.
I mean,
welcome.
coming from a warrior half-scorn, that's probably the highest compliment you can get.
Yeah. Should we go back to the party and tell them that all of this was relatively straightforward and definitely nobody died?
But
We should open with that. Definitely nobody died.
what, like a lie sort of thing?
Well,
Yeah, the most
I love Garri.
charismatic members of the party are going to try and lie.
I mean,
well,
that's
at least we
fine.
know that. I mean, the captain did say that the prisoner was still down here, so it wouldn't have been the captain that let him go. And I'm assuming it would be the captain who had the authority to do such a thing. So I suppose we have a little bit of information. Let's go back to the party.
Yeah.
Unless you've got any other bright ideas.
Yeah, I've got loads of bright ideas. Nice, you know me. It's my speciality, innit? All right, come on, let's go.
Cool. So you can start heading back to the bar. In the meantime of all that happening, Grandel and Nyla have been patiently waiting back at the Swan Neck. About a short while later, so maybe 3/4 of an hour, a surprisingly blood-stained Garri walks in.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Front door,
Don't have time for a shower. Go see a doctor.
and is joined by Elias as well.
Holy
and
shit.
you can't help but think that it's weird that they got back before Bear.
Oh God.
I'll sit down and be like, you alright?
All right. What happened?
Nosebleed.
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 Hell of a thing. Went everywhere. It was crazy. You should have seen it. It was amazing.
I mean, do I even need to make an insight check, given how patently absurd that is?
No.
Probably not.
Nosebleed. Who's?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna grab Elias by his lapels or his cloak, whatever the hell it is he's wearing, and just be like, Elias, is there a way you can find out where Bear is?
Maybe. Let me consult my spell list.
Nosebleed.
Yeah, nosebleed. Went all over my axes, as you can see.
Whose nose?
Elias, whose nose was it again?
Yours?
Mine. Mine.
I thought we did have like a tracking thing, but I don't. Annoyingly,
You did look it up because I remember. I know that you looked it up because at one point in the when we were talking about, I think it was the last episode actually. You were like looking for like 10 minutes for the spell, and it was like it starts with like a Z or something, and you were like, for Christ's sake, I would have taken me all afternoon to get to that. So I think you looked it up, but you decided against taking it.
Are we concerned about Bear, Nyla?
Yes, he should be back. If you're back and you've apparently managed to drown yourselves in blood, then he should definitely be back by now.
Sure way to go find him.
Yeah. Full disclosure, we solved the guard mercenary issue.
What guard mercenary issue?
I wouldn't worry about it. It's not a thing anymore. So,
Problem anymore.
I have so many questions, but no time to ask them.
should we all go?
I
We all go.
I mean, worst case scenario, like I say, I'm pretty good at, I don't get sniffles or whatever. So, if need be, I can go into the East Quarter, go find him.
I think we should all go.
feel like we should stick together. I don't like the idea of going into the plague quarter, but I mean,
we're either all going to get it. If one of us gets hit,
you seriously expect me to believe that?
it was a gusher.
It was a massacre.
Yeah, it sure was. Sure.
I high five, Garri.
Yeah, I high five you right back. Do you know what?
Splattering blood across the bar.
We will tell you the story once we found Bear. I think that is probably
Nyla,
quite.
I don't
Can
even.
you give me a percentile, please?
Oh God, no! I don't want to. I refuse.
I think
This
the
is to
reality
determine
is,
whether she believes it was a nosebleed.
I don't think that's
We-
what this is for, but sure.
Mm.
Oh no. 92.
oh,
Oh god, that's
It
something
doesn't
really
sound
good,
good,
or
does
really
it?
Bad, yeah.
It's certainly a high number.
Are we playing Call of Cthulhu or something else? Because D&D high is sometimes good.
So, you're kind of beginning to get a bit frantic. You're worried. You're preparing yourselves as a group to go into the plague quarter, and as you kind of push open the door to the other section of the bar, you see Bear come in.
God, is he okay?
Yeah, he seems fine.
Oh God, I hug him so hard.
Kind of weirdly resembles Garri at the moment.
Oh God.
He's had a nosebleed as well.
Yeah.
He's had a terrible nose.
Behind him is a girl, clutching a piece of paper and Bear's tail, which Bear does not seem particularly happy about.
No,
but
he hates it.
is dealing with.
I think there's a poem about that.
She looks quite scared. But on seeing like people who, you know, she doesn't know, but that Bear is kind of obviously and visibly happy to see, she does seem a bit kind of calm, but also wary.
Not at all concerned about the 6 foot plus half scone covered in blood.
I mean, you feel like her eyes tell you that she's just seen some stuff.
Fair enough.
I will lead them both back into the other side of the bar, and I will sort of say to Bear, "What happened?" Just like hold his
you
little
just get
face.
you kind of get flashes of him having to like kill a lot of people.
I hug him super tight. Well, I sort of stroke him. It's okay. It's okay, boy. You're fine now. You're back. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jack,
Yes.
is there a horse trough out the front of this inn/tavern?
Yeah, probably.
Would there be a bucket with it?
Potentially.
We could just put him in the trough as long as we drain it, so no one drinks.
I was just gonna like, Bear, Garri, outside right now.
Oh my
But
God.
I don't want to.
No,
Okay.
young man.
So this is fan art I definitely want, which is Garri and Bear in a bath.
I was gonna get the bucket and throw it over them, but
No, get them both in. Get a rubber ducky.
The other way's
it's
cuter.
a full-size tiger. It is cuter, but it's a full-size tiger in a 6 foot plus half scone. I don't know that they're both gonna fit
in
at
a
the same
little
time.
metal bath.
Oh,
It's adorable.
One of those tin baths.
It's adorable.
it's so
A little
cute.
pile of bubbles on both of their heads.
Oh my God, it's so cute.
So yeah, Garri, you going out? Bear will kind of go. Okay.
Alright, I
that's
pick
the
up-
look he gives you.
I mean,
I
just
pick up a nearby
loves
broom
horses
and I'm
and
like
tiger.
scrubbing the blood out of their fur.
yeah, just in case someone does actually end up drawing this. Yes, that's
Please
exactly
do.
what happens. Yeah.
Cool. While they're getting a nice clean, this little girl kind of looks at you, Nyla, and says, "Are you Nyla?"
I am. I'm sorry you had to witness what you witnessed, but Bear got you here safe, and that's the main thing.
Yes. Yes, he did.
You're one of the Makario children.
Yes. One of the last, I think.
Well, we got you out, and that's the main thing. Can you tell us why you were in there?
The whole family went down there. It was assumed when they realized what it was that Bailey died of, that we all had it, so we were all taken there.
But you never showed any symptoms, never got sick.
No?
And your parents?
Dead.
I will hug her. I'm just gonna be like, it's okay, I'm so sorry. But you're safe now.
She doesn't seem like sad. She's just, it's almost like she's in shock, I think, probably, is kind of the impression you get.
Seen some shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would
yeah,
imagine.
she has.
I'll sit her
Why-
down and I'll get her like a cup of tea or something just to calm her. Ask the barman.
Why is it you wanted to get me?
Well, we've been trying to investigate into what started this plague, and also if there may be a cure.
That's what I said.
I look at Elias
Direct quote.
angrily.
I can
I wind my neck in.
I can tell you what started the plague.
Please,
His father.
what happened?
He sends Thomas, one of the boys, the local boys, out hunting things that he thinks will make Bailey better. Far off places with rumors of magic users and mystical cures from small villages of, unheard of people. And nothing ever worked. And then this most recent time he brought back some weird vials and a book of notes about how it was a cure. And then Bailey died.
I'm gonna take out one of the vials that I have and show her and just be like, "It."
She like flinches.
Yeah, I thought so.
At the sight of it.
I'll put it away quickly.
Be careful with that.
Don't worry, I am.
How old is she, Jack?
You think maybe like this sounds really silly, but like a young 18, 19? Like quite innocent in her like manner, but definitely like around that age, if that makes sense.
I can't remember what I was gonna ask her. God damn it! No,
Sorry.
no, it's fine.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's not just.
I was trying to get a mental picture of the conversation. I kind of kept skipping between like very young to teenage.
Yeah, I was sort of picturing
she's
about
kind
10
of
years
like-
old. So.
Teenager, like I say, maybe like 17, 18, but then like maybe she's actually 19 type sort of like look. Quite like thin and delicate looking. She's got kind of like ratty, like dirty blonde hair. And by dirty blonde, I mean literally like her hair is blonde and dirty. Like if you couldn't see that she didn't have the carrion plague because there's no visible like sores and stuff like the other people have, you would assume that she was infected just from the fact that she kind of looks like a Walking Dead zombie. Like she's definitely seen better days, and she's not wearing the sort of like outfit that you would maybe assume that the only daughter of the richest family in town would be wearing.
Esther, we were staying at your family's home the last few days. It's where the magic user had set up shop to try and find some way of dealing with this, and I look at Elias angrily. But we found a hatch or some kind of underground bunker that was full of strange items. Do you know anything about that?
That was the stuff that Thomas got for father. All of the different things he'd collected from all over the place. Trinkets and oddities from rumoured magic users or legendary creatures.
Elias, and I will bring Elias down to sort of look at Esther and say, Esther, would you mind if Elias, he's a apothecary and somewhat of a healer, could he just check you out just to make sure that you're fine? It might help in our investigation if we can work out why you were spared.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, are you... Why me? Why am I here?
We thought you'd want to get out of there.
Well, sure, but why do you want that?
I've been told that you can lead us out of the city. You can lead us west up the river.
She kind of looks at you. She's kind of shocked. Like there's evident surprise in her eyes, and she kind of like hastily nods. And she's like, "Yes, I think I can do that." Is that why you came and found me?
Pretty much.
Well then, I will repay your kindness for saving my life with a kindness to you. I ask but one thing. You take me with you from this place.
I look at Nyla.
Yeah, our journey so far has not been safe, and I understand that this is not safe either. But we're heading to the city, and it's still a long way.
I have family there.
Fine. If you help us, we will help you.
My family has an emergency exit, is what my mother used to call it. It's a boat hidden in a... It's hard to explain. It's like a dock hidden in the western wall of the town that leads to the northern side of the bridge, and it's a fast boat. We can get up the river pretty quickly, and that leads all the way to the city.
I look at Elias. Is this a good idea?
I mean, if we want to get out of the city, then there's not really a lot of choice, is there?
Fine. We'll let you rest, get your strength up a little, and then we'll go.
We will have to go at night,
Okay.
otherwise we'll be seen.
Grandel appears in the doorway, half drowned, covered in a fair bit of wet blood, and having slammed the door open goes, "Does anybody have any soap?"
I imagine that Nyla would have some like animal render sort of soap kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can think that's probably accurate.
Yeah, so she chucks it at Grandel.
Grandel catches it. The first thing he does is bite off a chunk of it and start chewing it, and then he heads back outside.
Why? That's disgusting.
I think that's what he was going for.
So gross. Ew.
Yeah. Cool. So are you gonna go this evening?
Which side is west? That's not the way where
So-
all the infected people are. Or is
So
it?
you have the way it works is you have the river runs from the river runs from Blind Eye Peak north to the city.
Okay.
You came down on the west side of the river. The bridge at the road continues north on the east side of the river. So Bridgeton is where you cross over the river, and it sits on the bank of the river. The west side of town is essentially the side on the bank of the river. So you go out onto the river and then you continue north. So going out west is not actually out of your way. It's actually potentially, in terms of like following it, it would be quicker than taking the road. Not just because it was because it's a boat, which obviously is faster than, especially if you're traveling down river with the river, which you would be. It would be quicker to take if you could have taken the cart alongside the riverbank, you would have gotten to the city quicker than you would following the road, but you couldn't do that because there's no road, and it would be really hard going. So you would be, if you were walking and there was no cart, that's probably the way you would go.
Is the
Because you guys don't worry too much about like camping and stuff. You'd be happy doing that if you were kind of like classic adventuring party, I suppose.
yeah, true.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get you. Can I ask Esther how big the boat is? Like, is it big enough to put the cart on?
I don't think it would fit a whole cart on there. It's designed for me and my parents and my siblings and our possessions. In fact, it probably already has supplies on it. Whether they'd be good or not, I don't know.
Aren't we going to go to the Major's Tower to find the cure?
That's what I wanted to do.
No, I know, but we don't need the cart for that. We can leave it here because we're going to have to come back to deliver the cure anyway. So we can sneak out of the.
Just so, like, sorry, I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of like distances and stuff. The East Hills is quite a large area. So, like, the East Hills as an area is as big as the distance that you've travelled from the Blind Eye Peak to this town. So to cross from the top to like from the northern point to the southern point of the East Hills is like 2 or 3 days worth of travel, and that's if it was flat. And it's probably about a day's worth of travel, maybe 2 days worth of travel across from west to east if it was flat, but it's obviously mountainous, or hilly at least. And you don't actually know where specifically the tower is. I just want to give you an idea of like,
that's
if you're planning on going east to find a tower with a potential cure in it, that's potentially going to take a really fucking long time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because we don't
That's-
we don't have an exact location for the towers. I remember you saying last time that the actual area is fucking huge.
Obviously, I'm not trying to dissuade you from doing that if that's what the direction you want to go in, but for the most part, you have all been trying to get to the city under a time limit. So I just want to be aware, make sure that it's not like you're going to continue north and this tower is on your way. It's definitely out of the way by quite a lot.
I hate to say it, Elias, but as much as I want to help these people, I don't know if we can.
I think.
I mean,
I think
I was going to help them earlier today.
The thing I think, Elias, from your point of view, is not so much a case of it would take a long time, it would be out of the way, but you almost definitely wouldn't be able to go there, find it, and get back again before everyone had died anyway. Does that make sense? From from that point of view, that's the only thing I would think. Obviously, still useful for future, etc., etc. But if your logic is we'll go there and save these people, then
it's unlikely.
I don't think Elias would make that conclusion. Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't out of character because this isn't Elias saying it. That wasn't my plan specifically, because my plan was to aid in their destruction rather than the horrible, painful death that they're now going to suffer. So I thought the plan was because that's what the party wanted to do, not because Elias wanted to do it.
No, you're right. I just think that after what Jack has said, there's no point looking for this tower because we wouldn't be able to find it in time anyway. Which
not to just destroy Nyla's hope.
No, that's fair, because like Nyla wants nothing more than to help these people. But if there's literally no way of doing it, then she's pragmatic.
And on a selfish note, she's trying to get
and also she needs to find Sun as quickly as possible as well. So, although she's very sad about it, she understands that these things happen.
Grandel reappears in the doorway. His clothes are somehow miraculously dry. His hair is slicked back in a very smart fashion, and his beard is like kind of fluffed out and glorious.
Wow.
Nyla just looks at him like, what?
And then Bear appears at the doorway, looking like he has been like a Crufts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like he's all like puffy and like he looks like he's about to do an advert for like nighttime pillows, like or something. Like
He's got a very pretty bow tied around the end of his
I will
tail.
get him
Yeah,
to
exactly
come over
that.
to me, and I will smush his face and go like, "Oh, who's a handsome boy."
And you
Such
know
a
what?
handsome
Actually, and I
boy.
know exactly how Garri looks. Garri looks like the Beast after his bath.
Ask half-scorn Garri.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
they're like pink proto-human looking things
Okay, I see.
with tusks.
Because you guys have both made reference to him being like slightly furry earlier, and I was like, "What?"
He's probably hairy. I would imagine that. I imagine Garri is having.
So, Mark,
Scott.
make a choice. Is Garri hairy?
He's got.
Chest
I mean,
hair
he's
or
he's,
something.
he's like he's hairy in like the way a human would be hairy,
In a masculine way, in
Absolutely.
like a Gaston way.
almost like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
He is more than just hairy in a like handsome man way. Who snorted?
That was me. Mark, you're a fucking idiot. Stupid fucking podcast.
Flips table, throws laptop out window.
I'm gonna get my own podcast with blackjack and hookers.
It'll be stolen.
In fact, forget the podcast.
Cool. So, So, what's the decision then? I think. I suppose you bring Grandel
Yeah.
and Garri up to speed,
Mm.
And
Well, I suppose
I
we
think
have
the
to.
next step is.
We have to involve Pierre a little as well because it's his. shit.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Leave
that was my
behind.
next question. Like, we've got to convince him to let go of his cart and whatever's in there.
Yeah. So we can get.
Cool. Let's do that in roleplay form.
Okay. Oh, I forgot Pierre.
Pierre,
Sorry.
would you like to leave this place?
You mean the place where I watched a horrendous murder, was almost killed myself, and is full of diseased people?
Yes, that place.
Yes, I would very much like to leave this place. Thank you.
How attached would you say you are to your cart and all of the belongings in the cart?
The cart, I would say I'm not particularly attached to. My various belongings within the cart, however, are my entire livelihood and therefore my entire life.
Well, we have two choices. We can either leave you and the cart here while we leave the city, or you can join us in leaving the city, and you can bring along what you can carry.
How about I join you in leaving Bridgeton, but I get to bring whatever we can carry between us all?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Then fine, that sounds good.
Yeah, because unfortunately we don't have a way of getting the cart out of the city.
To be honest, it's a bit of a shit cart.
No argument there.
Someone's ripped a hole in the side of it.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, it was you. Okay.
Sorry.
Betrayed, Garri?
As the Grendel said nothing.
Oh well. You live and you learn. Yeah, he's happy to leave with you. He'd rather be alive.
Well, we leave
So
tonight then.
that's
I guess.
cool. Is there any last business you wish to do in the 3 hours you have until sunset?
Grendel is going to polish his dagger. That is not a metaphor.
Yeah. How long did I say it would take to? I've closed my book. Did I say 1d4 days?
And
Yeah.
1d4 weeks
Cool.
for me.
Do you want to roll for them then, quickly whilst we're here?
Am
Awesome.
I rolling for mine?
Yes.
What do you roll for?
That,
Right.
mine is a 3.
Mine is also a 3.
Okay, well that's fine then. In 3 days you will be attuned and it will be polished fully, and Nyla, in 3 weeks you will have spent enough time with it to kind of tune into it. Part of that is also kind of getting your mouth round the magic of the word, because it's
Thank-
not a
thank
language you
very much
understand.
for continuing
Getting your
that
mouth round
sentence.
the end of the staff.
Getting your mouth
Is-
around.
Is there any way I can aid in that, Jack?
Sadly, no.
No.
EM says no.
Other than accidentally attuning to it yourself in 3
Yeah,
hours.
so that's the thing, is that like I would give it to Elias, but I feel like I want to be Beastmaster. So
Damn right.
I have my snake and my tiger, and I'll try and pick up some kind of mystical rabbit or something.
Wow.
There's a hat for that, I believe.
Yeah, the magic rabbit hat.
Yeah.
It's very dapper.
That's not where I was going to go with that, but that's probably
Oh,
better.
please no, Jack. Why?
Okay.
He's had a drink and he's all Larry.
Anybody else want to do anything else in these 3 hours?
I'm trying to think of... There was nothing else in the antiquities shop, or... I mean, there's so much I want to do, but I don't think anything that's like kind of useful. And if you guys have destroyed the police station, then there's no point in going back there.
I mean, the building itself was
But
left
everyone in
relatively
it is
unharmed.
Is that what you're telling me? Is the captain is dead?
Yeah, he might have died.
And any other senior officers or anyone who looked like they cared?
I mean, there will be a senior officer left.
You mean there'll be an officer who's been promoted because
Yeah.
everyone else is dead?
There's
Yeah.
always a senior officer.
Did you report
That's
the
just-
crime?
Yes, but he died.
Did you report the crime to anyone alive?
Yeah.
No. No.
Okay, in which case I'm going to scribble another letter and hand it to Rupert, basically saying I'll give him some money as well and say, can you please take this to whoever ends up leading the police, reporting the murders of Theo and Catelyn, and describing the person who was seen doing it.
Cool. Garri, Elias, what are you doing? Rupert will say yes. Neither he'll do that.
Thank you.
Garri and Elias, what are you doing in this little quick in this short break before you leave this town?
I don't think there's anything particular I need to do, to be honest with you.
No, that's fine.
Just going to carry on reading those 2 books I've got.
Sweet. In that case, kind of the time passes. It comes around pretty quickly. You kind of all sit chilling, I think, for a moment, just taking a time to breathe and reflect on the day. And as the sun begins to set, Esther, who has used the time to bathe, and she has got a change of clothes from Rupert, whose daughter, sadly, that he lost to the plague, he's given her some of their clothes. She comes down looking a lot more human. Like, she feels a lot more human. You can just see it on her expression. She's kind of resolute, and she kind of approaches you and says, "Well then, let's go." She leads you through the town. You take the cart with you to like the western edge of the town. Nyla and no, actually not Nyla.
Oh.
Sorry, Grandel. Give me perception.
I'm perceptive.
Yeah, but you don't know what you're looking
That's
for.
true.
That is a 15, which is just a success.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a feeling that means nothing.
Is there any way we can leave the cart?
I mean, just in the street, obviously. Like.
No, I know, but is there
Collect
somewhere...
later.
Because, I mean, the whole city's not going to die. Maybe. But that doesn't mean that we can't fetch for it, or...
Yeah, but they don't let people out. That was the whole point, right? Like,
Yeah, until all of the infected are dead, which will happen eventually. And it doesn't mean we can't then, when we get to the city, send someone to retrieve the cart.
Don't worry about it. It wasn't
Okay.
an expensive car, so I'll just buy a new one.
But what about the goods we can't carry?
They're not worth anything either.
Jack's like, leave this fucking cart alone.
It's more that, like, genuinely, like, one of the things I wrote down about Pierre in, like, the first session is that all of the stuff he has that he is a merchant of is actually just tat. Like, he is a snake oil salesman. Like, literally, he can replace this stuff for a copper piece. Like...
So what we'll be taking is the money that he got,
the money
having
that
sold
yeah,
this
literally,
tat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I think he probably will open up to you about that on the eventually, because he likes you guys. He's kind of come to trust you. But yeah, that's something that I think actually Grandel has probably gathered anyway based on his
I've
rummaging.
searched through all of his shit.
Because his stuff it is literally worthless. Which is why he's really not bothered about it. Probably just what will happen to it. You expect is that someone will find it and they will sell it to Borgov, who will then sell it on for a ridiculous price. So yeah, you kind of slip through the city in the as the light begins to leave, and you hear the rumble of thunder off to the east, marking the growing storm that you noticed earlier in the day. It is a way off to the east. It's very faint, the thunder, but it's visible. You see it on the horizon. The moon peeking out from behind it. You reach a small, run-down, like shack-looking thing that's like propped up against the wall. It looks like the wall is the only reason why it's still standing. And it's kind of like nestled in between two larger buildings. That's not what. Christ alive! It's nestled in between two larger buildings, and Esther kind of pushes it open, looking at you with a grin. She leads you down a short set of stairs into basically exactly what she described, a little dock with a boat in it. It's like a shallow drafted boat, kind of quite wide and long. It almost looks like the kind of like a smaller version of the sort of like a canal boat almost, like the ones that they used to transport coal on. Like shallow bottomed, but like quite long and wide.
Like a barge.
But covered as well. Like a barge, yeah, it's a barge, that's exactly it, yeah. So it is like a barge, covered barge. And there's plenty of space for the stuff that Pierre is worried about bringing. It's basically the stuff he wants to take with you are 4 large chests and 2 small ones. And he also pulls the 2 lots of canvas off of it and packs the canvas up to take with him because doesn't want his
got his name on it.
Yeah, he kind of settles himself into the barge. Esther kind of, as you've said, points out there's like little stashes of like dried rations and stuff already in the barge. And there's even like a little... It is basically... You can tell that this has been set up to be able to be a way that you would live on this boat until you got to the city, essentially, as a family of like 5. It is legitimately a kind of... It's an escape pod.
Nice.
Like, but for a town. You all get on, you push away, and as the last of the light leaves the sky, you slip out from this covered dock in the side of the riverbank, and silently begin to make your way down the river.
Nyla looks wistfully back at the town, feeling
Ooh,
sad.
give me perception.
Oh, okay. Nyla is so wistful. That's a 10, which is a success.
You notice a man
Oh fuck.
stood on the wall of the town. He stands is quite tall. He wears a robe. He's kind of backlit by the last of the light. You can't really quite see what the color is. But from the way that the very last bits of kind of the sunset cast a shadow, you see him as a kind of red outlined figure casting this kind of red shadow across the river.